All right, everyone. I hope you're having a great 2020. And you know what? Just like any time, I'm sure for some of you out there, and I know I've come across quite a few people that, they have a lot of questions about health and wellness. And the one common question is, well, how do I keep at it? Because that's really what they're asking you when they're going back and forth with the diet. They're struggling with their weight. Exercises behind a lot of that really is how to sustain it, how to keep the weight off, how to keep motivated, how to keep eating healthy, how to keep doing this and that and the other. And really what it boils down to really is a need to transform and change the way we think. The way we think when it comes to our health and wellness is about the philosophy. Now here's an example. The greatest wealth is health. The greatest wealth is health. Really, what it really boils down to, especially when it comes to our health, is in how we think about our health. That has a whole lot to do with why so many of us are having problems and struggling, because how we define it. What does it really mean to us when we talk about being healthy? Is it just something that we do that's outside of ourselves? What's really going on here? Now, here's something. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Now, here's the thing about health. What really gets people going when it comes to health, they're being motivated by something. Now, don't get me wrong. Motivation is okay. But here's the thing about motivation, too. Sometimes motivation is more about emotion. So we can be motivated to do things mostly by emotion. And we get a whole lot of that, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's money, you name it, or whatever. Crisis come up, especially when it comes to health. Here's a good example of that, and this is very applicable when it comes to men. We go to the doctor. The doctor is giving us some news about our blood pressure, our cholesterol. We're going to have some type of procedure done. They found something in our colonoscopy. You name it, and then we react. So this goes back to the emotional part. Now, naturally, being a human being, we are going to be emotional. That just comes with the territory. But we don't want to be just stuck on being motivated by emotion, and that's it. And so we go back to my point about motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. And again, as I pointed out before, the motivation can be a lot of different things. Sometimes, more or less, it does tend more so on emotion. A crisis comes up and so forth. Here's what we got to do, though, when it comes to our health and our wellness, to be honest with you. Think about all the things that are important to you, the things that you value. You make a priority. We make a priority to go to our job because we got to pay the bills. We make it a priority when it comes to our relationships. We make it a priority when it comes to the business. We have a lot of things that we put priority into because it's very, very important. And as if you can see right here on this depiction, it's pointing out how we can get those things contorted and twisted up. But I'm going to get back in a second to the habit part too. Once we get to the priorities and we start making health a priority, that means we put time into it, things are going to turn around. Making exercise a habit, we see this right now. How do we make priorities? How do we make that time? Well, we got to be patient. Habits are basically things that we do repetitiously. It's the little things. You see, time is really about little things that we do. Time, just the little things. We got 24 hours in a day. There's about 60 minutes in an hour. We do have time, but you have to make the time. Just the little things. Something as simple as a glass of water. The first thing you should do in the morning is drink water. That's a simple habit. That's not a difficult thing to do. And when we think of habits, we know about the bad habits. It doesn't take much to smoke the cigarettes, to drink, or whatever it is that we're doing when it comes to the bad habits. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Here again are some examples. May seem kind of corny or whatever, but my point in all of this and using this simple example is changing the way we think, changing our philosophy, going back to what I said earlier, and that is doing the simple things day to day. We're not dieting. Notice I didn't say anything about diet, and that's our problem. Again, is the emotion. We get wrapped up in the emotion, and then we start dieting, then we start doing other things, and the next thing you know, we're not being transformed. Because that's what this is all about. Transformation. The way we think, making it a habit, day to day. We got to do it, we got to do it, we got to do it. Here's another thing. We're going to need people. Anything that we're doing to be successful, we need to surround ourselves with like-minded people, create some type of family, some type of community. Here's an example, belonging to a group, a boot camp, or so forth. Or even when it comes to your social network on Facebook or so forth. Who's on your Facebook page? Who's on your timeline? Reaffirming everything that you're trying to do, going to those little small boot camps and so forth, or even when doing the out and about events, women's health fairs, going to some of these health fairs, networking with people, getting in groups of people who are like-minded, people who represent you, a reflection of you. For example, going to men, for example, having a men's health fair. One of the things that I'm going to be doing, and this is a part of what I'm doing in creating a community with this YouTube channel and what I'm doing on Facebook, is all about creating that community. The other thing is, of course, simply, hey man, we got to think positive. And so those are a couple of the things, or a few things, that I wanted to put out there as we kick off, getting started in 2020 in our journey to be a healthier us. You know, I could be talking to myself, and this could be applicable to some things in my life too. So I'm just not talking to you, I'm talking to myself too, of course. I'm also talking to you, of course. But just getting right at it. And you know what? Be right back at you again with more of these little small tidbit excerpts. YouTube, Facebook, Fit for the Kings, Asians and Fit, and so forth.